Hey everyone, it's Stephanie here. Today I have a video sharing a card that I created with the Hoppy Easter stamp set from Right at Home Stamps. This is a stamp set that was released last month, and I figured since Easter is almost here, it would be fun to create a card using these cute little bunny images. And I'm going to create a little garden scene using them. So to start off, I just took a piece of Post-it masking tape and I added it to the bottom of a 4¼ by 5½ inch white cardstock panel. And I'm just using this for a mask. I just want to be able to stamp a few of the carrots along the bottom area, but I will only want to stamp the top half because I'm going to make it look like they're actually coming out of the ground. So I went ahead and added that Post-it tape, and then I also have two bunnies here. These are actually stamped on masking paper and already cut out. I'm going to be using them when I do the design. So I just kind of set them onto the cardstock panel where I'm going to end up stamping them, just so I could position the carrots and make sure I kind of evenly space them out along the bottom. Once I had the stamping done, I went ahead and removed that Post-it tape, and I took a Copic marker and just kind of drew a line straight across, and that kind of gave me a guide to know where to stamp my bunny images, and is going to give me an idea of where I want to actually color the dirt for the garden. So I went ahead and stamped both bunnies, and then I also stamped a little butterfly in the top area so that I did all my stamping at once. And now I'm just going to go ahead and color the bottom area of this cardstock panel to make it look like dirt. So I just used some basic brown colors of Copic markers. I believe I'm using E33, 35, and 37. They're kind of a brown color with a little hint of like a reddish tint to the brown, and I thought that would work nice for the dirt. I didn't want it super, super dark brown. I wanted it, a little bit more colorful, as much as you can make dirt colorful. So I just went ahead and started with a light color first and then added some medium and dark colored browns to that area and just kind of used some feather motions and was kind of not too neat about it. It is supposed to be dirt, so I figured it's not supposed to be, too smooth or blended. So I kind of made it look a little bit choppy in my coloring. And then I moved on and colored in the carrots. So I just used some oranges and some greens to color those in. I did do a little bit of shading. They are pretty small, so there's not a lot of area to do shading on, but I did a little bit just to make them look a little bit more dimensional. And then I went ahead and colored in the bunny images with some cool gray inks and some R20 for their ears and tummies, and then colored in that butterfly with some aquas. Now to add some blue color to the sky area, I went ahead and added those masks onto the bunnies and then just used some distress ink. I used Tumble Glass and an ink blending tool and just lightly added a little bit of color to the background. It's not super dark and I didn't want it to be. I just wanted it to be enough to make it so that it wasn't completely white, but I didn't want it to be really, really blue either. So I just did a light hand and added a little bit of color. And now I'm going ahead and creating the sentiment portion. So I stamped the Sending Easter Blessings onto a fishtail banner that I had cut out. And I stamped it near the bottom so that I could adhere it straight down off the top area of the card and just cut off the excess once I had it adhered on there. So I'm just trimming that off now, and then I'm left with this great little banner that's kind of floating down into the sky. And because I added the blue distress ink to the sky area, that little banner piece jumps off the page more than it would if it was directly white on white. So I kind of like the contrast that was created there. Now I'm going to go ahead and assemble this onto the card base. I decided to use stone gray ink from My Favorite Things. It's like a cool gray color ink, or not ink, I'm sorry, cardstock. But I felt like when I put the background directly onto that, it kind of got lost in that gray color. So what I did is I just cut out another panel to tuck behind that stamped piece. This is just another My Favorite Things die. And it just cuts out a scallop border with a little bit of stitching on the outside area there. And the panel that I used happens to fit perfectly inside the center area and still show the stitching. So I went ahead and added adhesive onto this and adhered it directly to my card base. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the bunny piece. I'm going to add some adhesive onto that as well and then adhere that directly onto that white panel that I've added there. And then that just really makes the stamp panel kind of stand out a little bit more off of that cardstock base and makes it really the focal point of the card. Now to add a couple details onto this design, it is pretty flat since it's all one layer and just stamping. I went ahead and added some black gel pen to the bunny's eyes, and I also added some Wink of Stella clear glitter to the ears and the tummy on the one bunny, and I also added some to the cheek area. And then I couldn't stop there. I figured we needed some glittery carrots because who doesn't have glittery carrots? So I went ahead and just added that clear right onto those carrots as well. And then to finish it off, I went ahead and added some clear sequins. I did end up adding a little grass piece at the bottom. You can see here in the final photo. I just felt like the dirt was a little bit too much, and I feel like the grass added a really nice contrast to the finished card design. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.